Every year at Congregation, UBC has the honor of bestowing honorary degrees upon individuals who, in the opinion of the university community, have fit the criteria of excellence and eminence in their chosen field. Gary Cristall is one of those individuals, and I invite him to step forward to receive his honorary degree. Mr. Chancellor, a great love of music and an extraordinary knack for management have enabled Gary Cristall to make a profound mark on the music culture of our city. In 1978, as co-founder of the Vancouver Folk Music Festival, Mr. Cristall was instrumental in creating what has become one of Vancouver's signature cultural events. During his 17 years as the festival's artistic director, he consistently attracted an extensive international roster of performers, thereby securing the festival's importance among the world's leading artists and establishing it as a beacon for traditional music lovers. Mr. Cristall also extended his influence industry-wide by establishing oral tradition records for the production of folk music recordings and festival recordings for the distribution of thousands of titles by an eclectic array of artists. He has produced countless shows and annual concert series, arranged tours for festival performers, and organized the popular Folklife Pavilion at Expo 86, a venue that further solidified Vancouver's reputation as an international center for folk, traditional, and world music. In 1994, he moved to Ottawa, where he worked at the Canada Council for the Arts. Most notably, he led the creation of a new funding model that recognizes Canada as an Aboriginal and multicultural nation with a range of traditions worthy of support. In 2000, Mr. Cristall returned to Vancouver, where he continues to work as an artist manager and agent, concert producer, and as an instructor in the Arts and Entertainment Management program at Capilano University. Mr. Chancellor, in recognition of his rich and lasting contributions to the cultural life of our city and province, I ask you to confer the degree Doctor of Law honoris causa upon Gary Eric Cristall.
By the authority of the Senate of this university, I confer upon you, Gary Cristall, the title and degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
It now gives me great pleasure to ask Dr. Cristall to say a few words.
Thank you. This is great. I always like working with a full house. To the folks who suggested me, I am honored. I truly am honored. To be appreciated for what you do is a wonderful thing. And I assume now that I'm a doctor, I can bill appropriately for my services. The Doctor of Laws has confused some people who know me well. They assume it represents ones I doctored, twisted, bent, etc. I also want to thank people who are guests here today and others I've worked with, without whom I could never have done the things that I am being honored for. It is never individuals who are solely responsible for their deeds, good or ill. It is groups of people defined one way or another. So I'll accept this honor on behalf of many, and certainly not on behalf of me alone. That said, I did some stuff. I led a group or two of folks, and I'm proud of it, as inadequate as it is and was. I did the things I did through mule-headed stubbornness and no respect for the rules of the game as they were defined and explained to me. Many of the things we cherish, from votes for women to full citizenship for Asians to justice of a sort, for victims of the residential school system to saving the trees, the air, and the fish here and there, have only been accomplished by challenging the conventional wisdom of the day. I did that in my small way, in my small part of the world in the arts. I recommend that you never accept the status quo anywhere and always challenge the way it is supposed to be. One of the great things about working in the arts is that you get to meet many creative individuals and hear and see the work of others. I learned very young that I could absorb ideas better through songs than through speech, and I apologize for being unable to sing you this brief presentation. I will, however, recite a few chunks of songs and a piece or two of advice given to me by great artists. May they serve you well as they served me. First, from the German poet Bertolt Brecht, from Mahagoni, an opera where a man is about to be executed for the crime of having no money. His advice is, let no one restrain you. Your life is no measly stuff. Gulp it by the gallon when death extends its talon. You won't have drunk enough. Next, from Dave Van Ronk, epic blues singer on the function of art, he said, I can tell a lie, but I can't sing one. In art, there is often a great deal of truth. From you, Utah Phillips, the golden voice of the great Southwest, he told me, never give the audience what they want. Give them what you think they need. From Mary Carr and Rodney Crowell, more mundane advice. Never eat at a place called Mom's. Don't play cards with a guy named Doc. And if you're running around the wrong part of town, stuff your big bills in your socks. Oh yeah, and if you find someone who loves you, give it a whirl. And from Greg Brown, the Bard of Iowa, and this is perhaps most appropriate to you today, you young ones, it's up to you. Fight the fight, and I hope you do. I see in your eyes you know how. It's your town now. 2015 is an anniversary year for many things, a number of them connected to war. The end of World War II, the anniversary of Gallipoli and various other battles of World War I. An anniversary that will remain obscure is the 100th anniversary of the Zimmerwald Manifesto, the declaration of a handful of anti-war socialists in 1915 who wrote, all civilization created by the labor of many generations is doomed to destruction. The most savage barbarism is today celebrating its triumph over all that hitherto constituted the pride of humanity. 100 years later, these words still ring true. The barbarism may have changed from trench warfare, but poverty, injustice, refugees drowning by the thousand while an indifferent world looks on, climate change threatening human and animal life as we know it. That, unfortunately, is the legacy that my generation has left you. I'm sorry. But, as Greg Brown says, now it's up to you. Everything that I did that this degree is based on was to fight against these things, and they still exist. In that sense, I am unworthy. But I did what I could. And now I'll give you one last piece of advice, again, from Bertolt Brecht. Change the world. It needs it. Thank you.